Hi guys, we're looking at 3D printed Power Ranger Energems. A while back my grandson wanted one, so I went on to Thingiverse and downloaded a file and printed one for him, and he was very happy with it. I published the video and somebody commented, could I make one that glowed? So I've been working on it. Not there quite yet. Well, we are, but we're not. I'll sort of run you through the various iterations, is it? This was the first attempt, and I started getting very clever. I had a sort of a rocker switch effect there, so we could turn it off and on. And the idea, if I can get a bit out, was the LED would be down inside there. There's a hole right the way through. The CR2032 was the battery I was going to use, which is a circular button cell. 20 is the diameter, so 20 millimeters, and the 32 is 3.2 millimeters in thickness. So that's what I based this on. This was just a sort of a test piece to see if I could physically do it. A few problems, one of which is that button effect doesn't work, and the other is that at that size, 20 millimeters wide and 3.2 deep, I kept getting these bits where it would actually come through the side. We'd have holes in it. Also, every time I change the filament for the black for these end pieces, I end up with bits of black in the colour. Anyway, this was the next attempt. With a slide-in piece to hold the cell. Same basic idea as that one, but without the button on it, because I was going to try something else entirely. So this was just a test piece. On this one, you'll notice that I've actually made my own end pieces rather than the ones that were on the file, which I didn't like the look of. I've made end pieces that fit. All I did was I made the whole thing bigger, sliced it, sliced the ends off, and then made that into a negative or a hole, pushed it in so that we had end caps that fit perfectly. Anyway, we've still got this slot going up the side where it's just too wide. What was this one? Basically the same idea, only this one I think I made it very slightly bigger. Yes, it's a millimeter bigger all round. So that was to try and make the slot fit in without going through the edges, but it still went through the edges. Had a think about it, and I decided if I tilted it, let's see if we can get this right, and made it just about half a millimeter smaller, I could get the same size slot in there, well, a slightly smaller slot in there without it poking out the sides. So that one's all right. And on this one, instead of having a rocker switch effect, that is just all in one piece, and the idea is you just push on that and that pushes down. The only problem with that is I'm printing it that way up so that we can print the holes all in one go. If you try and do it that way, you can't do it, you get all the muck inside, and if you try and do it that way, you can't print slots like that without having support functions in there. So you've got to print it that way up. Anyway, that works, but because we've printed it that way up, the layers are crossways, which means that is incredibly weak, and as soon as you push on it, it splits just there. That one does work, even though it's split, it doesn't fall out. So that one actually works and we can get a light in it. But I thought it through again, and I thought, rather than having two holes or two slots, how about one slot arranged that curve is so that when we print it like that, it can print up and round all the way without needing any support. And that one works. So that's a single moulding, that piece. Obviously we've got top and bottom, but single moulding, and we're actually just flexing it to make it work. How does it work? If I can get this apart, and it is quite tight fit. There we go. That's all we've got inside. We've got a button cell in there. Oh, another thing I could do is I could use a thinner button cell. Instead of being a 2032, I could use a 2025, which would be significantly thinner, and that would have saved those issues there, just making it thinner. Anyway, I've got 2032s, so we're working with 2032s. So that goes in there, and you can probably see the shape there. We've got a hole there that goes all the way along, which means that I can push on the top of that and it flexes slightly. So that's my on-off button, or momentary press. To be honest, it doesn't go on and stay on, you have to hold it pressed. But that gives me just enough movement. Can we do that and see it? And because it's that way that it's moving rather than that way, that's the grain's going the wrong way, or the layers are going the wrong way and it will split. This way the flex is going across the grain, so it's not going to break along the layers. Sorry, I'm saying grain and layers. It looks like the grain of the wood to me, going across like that. And wood would be exactly the same. If you pushed down across the grain, it would split. So that's the design I've come up with now. That works. The only thing is, I've made it quite thick, and I have to push that quite hard for it to work. Oh, I could just show that LED if I can get it out. Is that going to come out? Is it going to come out without breaking it all? It's not going to come out. Alright, it's a tight fit in there, but you can see just the shape of that leg that I've made there. That's actually our on-off switch. Just push down on that, and that pushing down, now that I've bent it, that pushing down makes contact, the long leg makes contact with the bottom, which is the positive. Just push that in again, and the bent one, when you squeeze the Energem, pushes down on the top and lights the LED. So about as simple as you can make it. That was my intention, to make it as simple as possible. The only thing is you've got to adjust that just right for it to work. And so I got to push that quite hard, so it may be too hard for my grandson to operate. Although, to be honest, he'll probably make it work if he has to. Because now I've got to reprint the top and bottom in black. Well, I could. You'd probably like it as it is, to be honest. I'm quite pleased with that. That was a lot of effort went into that. I don't know if I'll make the files public yet, or wait until I've decided whether I've got to make any more changes to it. Oh, the other thing that I was worried about is they do tell you about button cells. Some children have a habit of trying to eat them, and if they do get them in their stomachs, then that will probably kill them, certainly poison them. So you might want to reconsider if you were thinking of giving this to a child, because it's got a button cell in it, or screw it, drill it and screw it so it can't come apart, and so it needs an adult to unscrew it. My grandson is old enough to use a screwdriver himself, and he takes the batteries out of his toys to swap them around, so there's not much point in me putting a screw in that to stop him doing it. Anyway, I'm quite pleased with that. Still not 100% sure whether I'll make a change to it, but at the moment that does everything I wanted it to do. If I put a few lights off, I think you can see it anyway, but a bit darker. So yeah, quite pleased with that. If you want the file, let me know in the comments and I will put it on Tinkercad or Thingiverse. But at the moment I'm still thinking of making another change to it, just to make it a bit easier to operate, which would be to thin it out a bit. That's it. Move that in the middle of the screen. Yeah, job done. Thanks for watching. You'll find more information down in the video description. You might like to watch that video up there, and you might like to subscribe over there.